Welcome one and all to a scene of high tension here in the Garden State of New Jersey. We greet you from the campus of Montclair State University, where Match Week 25 is live in the MLS Next Pro for a point of pivotal distance and difference on the Eastern Conference's playoff perimeter. Both Red Bull New York and Toronto FC feeling the wind at their back in the swing of a late groundswell in form. All the same, the fire to their feet with the lessening opportunities to seize all valuable results in their pursuit of the playoff line. Howdy, folks. I'm Peyton Gallagher, and this one is a tasty morsel of a fixture in the late going of this Next Pro season, and you will see precisely why with a quick examination of the table. Red Bull New York, in the effort to defend their years gone by title, won in 2025, just inside the playoff line, starting play today on 38 points and starting to rediscover a little bit of good play after a downtick in their schedule with the results. Toronto in 13th, and with so little runway left, having to get all 3 points relatively here today to continue their chances of trying to make it back into the postseason after just narrowly missing out a year ago. It is not mathematically do or die for Toronto, but all the same, 3 points absolutely crucial here today, and this will be the team that they try to take those points off of. Selected by Dominic Wohlert. Only 3 changes from the result 2-1 against Atlanta United last time out on the road. For the Red Bulls, Benny Rodriguez, Austin Kazi, and Christian Gallagher all exit the starting 11, with Dennis Jangar, Naywin Benedetti, and Tobias Shesik back in goal today. Of course, notably, Benny Rodriguez in the last meeting between these two teams had a brace against Toronto, what was ultimately a 5-0 result the last time these two teams engaged back in June. For Toronto FC2 and Gianni Cimini, it's a whole host of rotation coming off the penalty kick shootout win against Chattanooga in their last game. A total of 6 changes made, as notably Zachariah Nakali, Lazar Stefanovic, Stefan Kapoor, Diego Nubrito, Cheyenne Pinnock, and Elias Kodri are all inserted into the team today. John Marie Nolan, maybe in the best run of play that he's had all year long, scored last game against Chattanooga. In fact, he scored in the last 3 matches he has played in the league, with 4 goals and 2 assists over the last 6. Needless to say, it is a big one. A massive tie. Approaching the final bend in this Next Pro season. Our center official today is Carlos Rodriguez in the black. It's the Red Bulls in Toronto FC white on the road, aside from Canada. And we are in motion. Both these teams coming off bagging points in each of the last 2 games. For Toronto FC2, 5 points spread out across those 2 fixtures. Penalty shootout draw coming against Chattanooga, in the most recent of which. For Red Bull New York, winners of consecutive games, both away from home against Columbus and Atlanta. One of the youngest teams in the league, trotting out a lineup today that is just around 18 and a half years old on average. Bit of a trough in their form in the middle portion of the campaign. Dominic Wohlert has said extensively in conversation before this game that he feels like that was necessary to put this team through a patch in which they could really find out what they were made of, and now feeling very good about how they're playing and what they might be able to reach out to achieve in the late stretch of their season. Toronto starting today's play and what should set up in something similar to a 4-4-2, both with and against the ball. Expect John Marie Nolan to use that big frame to lead the line, with Elias Kodri tucking in underneath him. Right now defending to do for Toronto. A well-shaped ball in behind. One of the speediest players in the whole division, Dennis Nelic, was knocking on the door. Up out of goal to meet it was Zachariah Nakali. Nelic, with that blinding speed, can always open up a game in quick-fire fashion. Nearly happened there straight away. Of course, Red Bull 2 in their last game against Atlanta did not waste any time in getting the opening goal. Took all of 4 minutes for Christian Gallagher to net. He's on the bench to start today's proceedings. Fanciful footwork by Chukwu on the near touchline. John Marie Nolan. And Benedetti. Well-measured ball to the wide side for Nelic again. Jangar in the middle. Rojas arriving. It's at the feet of Jangar. Nelic straight at the goalkeeper. Zakaria Knuckley dropping down and was able to wall it off. Ultimately, what was a stingless shot from Dennis Nelic, who has waited less than 5 minutes to make an encore appearance in the danger area. Toronto turning the table straight away. Flowing wide. Kodri back in. Nolan has nudged it wide. John Marie Nolan, who has been ruthless in the face of goal for what's going on about 2 months at this point, just narrowly missing out. Looked like that last step in from the periphery of vision may have been enough to put him off from Joshua Munson in central defense. That's as clean a look at goal, though, as John Marie Nolan can expect to see all game long, even from the edge of the 18-yard box. Counting his international call-up away with Jamaica in the U20s. Goals now for him in 6 straight contests. Was an absolute torrent in that tournament. And he's hungry for more. Shot coming! And an early go-ahead goal on the road for Toronto. An insistent piece of finishing from Elias Kodri. No matter how narrow the angle, was not to come undone as he lifted back his boot and swung for the fences. He may claim it was a shot. Very well could have been a cross. But the goalkeeper left that near post open. And it was with a sweet strike that Elias Kodri made sure to make sure and get Toronto the goal that they needed to defend here on the road. For Kodri, it is his 5th goal on the campaign. It comes at a colossal time, and Toronto take the edge. Uncharacteristic there by Tobias Shefcik to provide such a soft landing place for a shot that could do damage. Don't think he really was anticipating that Kodri was going to be in a position where he could go for goal. And it could grow this advantage for Toronto straight away. Nolan swerving back in on the right foot. Pass arrived a little bit soonly for Fletcher Bank. But it's still with Chukwu, and Bank getting another spin at it. Soaring into the heart of the area. It was Kodri who arrived with a header only maybe a couple inches off the ground, but had his back turned to goal, and the shot in the end hapless. Toronto have been turning things up on the offensive ends. Multiple goals now in consecutive games entering today. And in 4 of the last 5, they have 85 minutes to continue that good form in front of goal. Red Bull have been a front-footed outfit in their own right. Top 10 in the league in goals per game, just around 2 per. So that should serve as something of a luminescent warning sign for Toronto that there are no laurels that can be rested on here. Baitinger. And brushed away by Toronto SC2 at the touchline. Fletcher Bank. Breezing wide. Kodri providing a run infield. Scrambling forward between lines and still coming. And it's taken tamely in the end after what was a wonder run. Just nobody dared to step in the way of the oncoming attacker for Toronto. Looks like that was Cheyenne Pinnock in that instance for the Canadian club. Off the back heel, Jean-Marie Nolan. They are in the groove, Toronto FC 2. Fletcher Bank flushing in, Shestak's late to it, and launched over goal by Jean-Marie Nolan. What has Gianni Cimini said to this bunch? They had bad intent in their eyes, and they nearly made it 2-0. Jean-Marie Nolan, another gilded chance for him that goes a begging. The goalkeeper was so close to maybe getting a fingertip touch to that. And that could have absolutely entered the calculus for Nolan. But in the end, it was only he who made contacts, and the goal was completely unguarded. Red Bulls with their heads spinning. Nick Woolert, Sponge, maybe just trying to figure out how they can take some of the sting out of this. They have led the league in terms of average share of possession this year. They've seen so little of the ball in this first little less than 10 minutes. That was a necessary intervention at the back. Benedetti doesn't get that right. That's a ball in behind that. Rather, I should say, Jason Borey doesn't get that right. That's a ball in behind that lands right in the path of Jean-Marie Nolan to go one-on-one with the keeper. Unrelenting Toronto. Served in, Bank, Nolan again! And inside the first 10 minutes, Jean-Marie Nolan has had 3 shots. This time it's saved with little anxiety from Tobias Shevsik. When you have a purple patch like this, it is oh so important to gather ye rosebuds, if you will. When the momentum is with your side, especially once you've already scored 1, critical that the team does not let off the throttle until they put some extended distance between themselves and the opposition. Red Bull will not sit back on their haunches for the entirety of this game. Scrambling ahead with swagger. A late tackle comes in. Sean Baitinger all the way over from right back to quell the advance. Toronto not letting it go easily. Just playing at a higher RPM. Toronto FC 2 than their opponent so far. Chukwu slithering away from one tackle. That was Bunnell. He's lost the ball now. Toronto able to grapple it back. You're just now joining us. The early go-ahead goal from Elias Kodri. The Frenchman finishing with force from a tight angle off the right side of goal inside the first 5 minutes. Intercepted. Heavy touch as Baitinger reattaches himself. Suddenly Red Bull New York have numbers. In the middle it goes. Thoughts of a shot. Benedetti was trying to plow it through. Nate Worth in chorus and connection. Andy Rojas. And now it's gone. Slapped away. Down to Jean-Marie Nolan. He lifts himself high. Put the header into friendly custody. Elias Kodri. A switch of the point of egress and beyond the bounds of Pinnock. And they are sucking in wind now. Toronto have given a lot of effort to this first quarter hour. Nate Worth extending the line to meet Toronto at the back. Red Bull have seen enough of this game existing in their own half. Cadigan intervening. Heading forward at pace, off that of Jangar. Skipping wide, Rojas can't roll out of the first tackle he sees, and the ball is gone. Fletcher Bank. Jangar stridently in for the tackle, and he's taken a piece. The man who was possessing the ball, Bryce spun out. Jangar back in the squad today, carrying 7 assists to go along with 3 goals. Norwegian that can play the wide spaces both at fullback and winger. Right now playing in a essentially spotted area as the number 9. Well, that is a great touch to just poach it out of the sky. And for that effort, Elias Kodri will be rewarded with a corner kick. Toronto have already done better than they did the last time they visited New Jersey. On that occasion in June, losing 5-0 to Red Bull New York. Historically, the Red Bulls have dominated this series. All time in MLS Next Pro engagements, posting 7 victories, 1 draw, only 2 losses. Toronto have lost the last 3 straight, and the last 4 away to Red Bull. But they are in fine position early on here today. Salivating over a corner kick to come. Swerved away. Scrap for the ball, and it's come into the possession of Red Bull. Andy Rojas, Jangar screaming forward to get in the box. Rojas stepping over, ricocheting back to Baitinger. Stabbed back initially. Toronto FC2 dropping in numbers, tucking in defense. Gets away from Nate Worth and trickles all the way back to Knuckley. End-to-end stuff, a live wire tie. Was just about 85 to 90 degrees at kickoff, so will be something to come back and meter throughout how much the conditions are taking out of the teams at this level of intensity. It is befitting of what's on the line, though, with both these teams dancing right on the playoff edge. Toronto playing with a degree of desperation. Nate Worth. It's coordinated from Red Bull until it all goes wrong. They've won it back, though. Baitinger and Worth. Rojas. And it's scooped away from any immediate threat by Toronto in the 18. Rojas going it again. Stepping on the ball. Barricaded. Still live. A real joust. As finally a foul comes shrilling in, and it's against Toronto. Nate Worth sticking his face in the fan. Toronto have been called for the second fewest fouls in the division this year. This one could be a costly one to give away. See if Red Bull New York can invigorate those aerial targets. They've been growing into the game steadily for about the last 7 or 8 minutes. 2-man barricade. It'll be important that Zachariah Knuckley is able to see this on its flight. Worth guiding into the back post, takes a hop inside the 18. Red Bull retaining. Ball in, well spotted. Oh, that would have been brilliant. But it's cannoned over goal. Joshua Munson with a meaty finish. And he's, in the end, sent it soaring. Just able to stealthily shake by his marker. Saw the ball before it was even played, and what space it might arrive in. That is one he will be regretting. Benedetti can't make it stick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets. Increasing Red Bull pressure pouring down on the Toronto Ants. And right on cue, it's gobbled up. And the whistle is one. Again, Carlos Rodriguez, our center official today, with Tyler Bost and Will Aitan running the lines. Victor Borges is the fourth official. Rolled into a pocket of space, providing pursuit, Fletcher Bank. John Marie Nolan arriving on the scene. Richard Chukwu, one of the more experienced of those in this Toronto team, a widely remade group this year. Railed into Nolan, who takes the first touch heavily. Chukwu softening stuff. Fletcher Bank. Red Bull will sit in this middle block once that first line of containment is broken and wait for their chance for the opponent to make the mistake for them to spring the trap. It's been harder for them to do in these last couple of games. Red cards in the two matches that preceded the one most recent. Looped ahead for Jangar, who will get there first and pick out his corner to fill it with absolute conviction. A scorching take from Dennis Jangar to reward the most mischievous of deliveries from Nate Worth. Goalkeeper, before he even knew it, found himself on an island with an apex predator in the form of Dennis Jangar. He can play fullback, he can play winger, he can play where you need him to. And at the tip of the spear, he is the spiky end for Red Bull New York when they needed it, and we are level at 1-1. Nate Worth, as he often has, plays provider, the captain. Assist number 6 for Jangar, goal number 4. It comes from all over in this Red Bull team. 15 separate players have been able to contribute a goal at some stage in the season this year. Jangar in the cohort of those that have scored 3 or more, which is 9 strong. It wasn't going to be that easy for Toronto despite the fireball first 10 minutes. Lobbed down the line, and it will be cut up. The goal scorer, it was Elias Kodri, who from the same spot that he was able to usher in the first go-ahead goal, found himself on the ball. Resistance he met was much stiffer this go-around. Nonetheless, it's still a corner for Toronto. Taken shortly, looking for the better angle. They find it. Final products not resolute enough to puncture. Heavy touch out of the back. Toronto all out of sorts as Red Bull able to recover it. Nate Worth, nowhere to go. Red Bull with the set. Punched forward. Elias Kodri, the ball is just stuck to him every time it's come his way. Nolan off the back heel. It's slick. It's slid wide. It's Toronto stumbling at the finish line. Still might be on. And it won't mature into anything meaningful there. This portion of the match is brought to you by Toyota. Tobias Shefcik. I do want to call attention to something of a notable distinction here. It does seem that there has been a change in the lineup card from what we were given at the start of the game. Cheyenne Pinnock was in the starting 11. That was handed in, but it looks like, in fact, it's DeMar Dixon that's on the right-hand side. Did score that last gasp goal in stoppage time to get it even against Chattanooga. Here's Kodri sitting on a brace. Can't break through. Big chances going both ways, and it's level after a pair of high-quality goals won by each team. Nahuen Benedetti waiting for reinforcement to arrive. Too congested in the middle for Red Bull to find a way through. Dancing by the first tackle was Kodri. Toronto unable to keep it tame. It's been lost by DeMar Dixon. Into the middle for Benedetti. Looked like he was charging up for a shot, but now deferring to Rojas. Andy Rojas looking for the half yard to get the cross in. Benedetti on the twist. Benedetti never got his hips around the ball. Off balance the whole way and out for a goal kick on the immediate horizon. It was a well-calculated move up until the point where Benedetti was forced off the line he was trying to take. Toronto refusing to step up to meet their opponent in their own half. Baitinger cruising forward, was waiting on the 1-2 to come to him, but Rojas stepped in for an interlude. It is face-to-face in the mid-park. Baitinger. Joshua Munson and Jason Borey. No Eric Londano today for Red Bull as he continues to remain out. Dealing with an injury, was the first choice center half for much of the first 2/3 of the season. Off the back heel, that's sweet. Benedetti arriving with an important tackle was Bryce Bunout. Hook back in for Borey. After that flourish to start the game, Red Bull have assumed a commanding edge on the possessional front, closing in on 55%. Toronto are winning a lot of these duels, though, especially when they need to. Red Bull have been knocking on the final third door. Rojas frees himself onto the left foot. Nelic. And stampeding away was the Red Bull left back, Connor Fiello, only to be cut off in the end. Benedetti, Baitinger. There's rhythm popping up for Red Bull. Jangar, Benedetti. Final ball is mismeasured, and away it goes. Borey. Half hour gone. A goal apiece, the most recent of which by Dennis Jangar to level a game up. That lead was granted to Toronto in the early going by Elias Kodri. Fletcher Bank. If there's any brightness in his thinking, Toronto could put themselves right back where they want to be. Bank barricaded by a pair of defenders, and it's out for a throw-in. Probably the best possible outcome there for Toronto. And it won't be another throw. This portion of the match is brought to you by Hospital for Special Surgery. Red Bull doing well once more to just crowd out the space in the corner. And they reap the rewards in gaining back possession. Not for very long. Flicks and tricks. But it's Red Bull off to the races. A searching ball in behind. Nelic still almost gets there. Clutching at it, Toronto. John Marie Nolan with the outside of his boot. Audacious from him as he latches onto the return. Nobody really has been able to assert themselves in possession for an extended stretch now. Couple of flirtations with attacking ideas from Red Bull after scoring the goal, but they've not really worked out. Zachariah Nuckley, all too much. That being said, there have been 12 shots now shared between the two teams. 6 of those landing on target. 4 of those have been from Toronto. John Marie Nolan round the corner. When he gets going downhill, he is a hard man to stop. Toronto enjoying the lowest average share of possession in the club's history. Not by all too much, but just beneath 48% at 47.9. A trend that has borne out so far throughout the course of this game. On the business end of the 1-2, Toronto moving with a bit of verve. Fletcher Bank unable to get the better of Baitinger, who held his ground. A poke away and out for a throw. Chukwu. John Marie Nolan dispatching wide and doing so smartly, but the flag is up for offside. It was a brewing move, make no mistake. Red Bull coming off back-to-back victories. Prior to that, though, had lost 4 straight matches. Every match that they played in the month of July ended in defeat. That's the joint longest streak in the club's MLS Next Pro history. They were flying, similar to Toronto, in fact. Well, the first couple months of the campaign, when you looked at the schedule in May, you would have said to yourself that this is a matchup that might be determining home playoff positioning, but as we arrive on the actual manifest of the occasion, it is a fight to just be above the playoff line when this is all said and done. Fighting hard on the front foot, our Red Bull ripped off its trajectory and freshly cleared. Nate Worth swirling in for Baitinger. Worth into a hazard area, and he's lost the ball. John Marie Nolan covering a lot of ground in this half, dropping back to aid in defense. Stepping out of the back with the tackle is the Toronto FC center half, Stefan Kapoor. It's not been cleared away. Andy Rojas. Benedetti and Rojas, a 2-man game. Those two have played together a handful of times throughout their career. There's a chemistry there. Nate Worth scraping wide. Nellich, first time. Jangar did well just to get it on frame. The technique was tantalizing as he opened up. That right foot just to help it on its way to goal. Chukwu taking a nibble out of a ball that looked like it might be sharp. Rojas rushing at Chukwu. Benedetti in the pocket. Nate Worth about facing to see the target. Benedetti thrusting through to Dennis Jangar, who in the end smacks it straight at the keeper. Everything about that was good aside from the placement of the finish. Jangar again making himself known in the 18 as he once more might do. Stefanovic with the clearing action for Toronto. Red Bull have had the better of the chances, really, for what's going on a half hour at this stage. Banger off his shins. How much more of this can Toronto take? Benedetti heaping the numbers at the side in black. Rojas. Batinger. Skirting infield on the 1-2. Doesn't take. Toronto can't get out though. They're digging the trenches and really driving their heels into the earth. A neat passage of play unfolding. Rojas rolled in, and just there in the nick of time to end it was Knuckley. Would have been something spellbinding had it come off for Dennis Nelic. Toronto finally taking aim toward the other end of the field. Dixon deking by the first tackle, still coming at the end line. Shevsik happy to assign himself to it. Custody trading hands. An exploratory effort down the flank and a cheeky back heel. Cut back options available, but it's off the bar. Again, in that no man's area, cut between a cross and a shot. The ambitious idea wins out for Toronto. Different result this time, and the counter's on. Rojas got a look at goal now. Nelic has whacked it wide. Live wire as both teams fashion meaningful chances on either ends. Not sure if Shevsik got a touch on it, but it came squarely off the woodwork. That seems to have invigorated Toronto, at least for the time being. With the frame of goal maybe still shaking, Canadians cut free into the attack. John Marie Nolan is either adjusting something in his kit or trying to stretch. Hopefully it's the first one for Toronto's sake. Oh, this could be costly. Jangar in one-on-one. Dennis Jangar! He does it all by himself. That's a pair. That could be pivotal. That's Dennis Jangar. It's 2-1 Red Bull. He pounced the instant the ball went backward. And while his opposition was casual, he was cutthroat, rolling right by the goalkeeper onto the left foot and easing the ball in from a very difficult angle. All the good work in the early going undone in a snap by Toronto FC. And Red Bull riled up and ready to show that championship DNA again. A pair of goals for Dennis Jangar makes it 5 on the year. And he needs no assistance on that occasion. Red Bull feeling quite all right here at the end of this first phase of play.
Red Bulls 2.
Toronto won't take it lying down. They absolutely need to get something from this game. A ball across the bow. Baitinger is there. We'll see how much Red Bulls sink in to try and see this out for the rest of the first half. Jangar is hunting a hat trick as he leads the line forward. Nelic on the ball. Calculations being made for how much stoppage time should be played. Rojas. Red Bull have won their last 2 matches by this identical Siamese score of 2-1. Both over Columbus and Atlanta. But the way this has gone, you have to imagine there are more goals left in this game. Borey's cut out off the ball. Nolan wedging it forward. Smartly covered there by Devin Cadigan, who sensed that the center back was not where he should be and immediately reached back to fill his place. Looking at a meager allotment of stoppage time, you'd have to imagine with how fast and free this one has come and gone. Baitinger. Borey. Shefsik. Thrusting down the line, Nelic spins out of one.
And the fourth official on their side has indicated there will be a minimum of 2 minutes of stoppage time in the first half.
In for Jangar, the goalkeeper has read the flight and made it his business to come and get it. In for Worth. Peering in on the target. Jangar! Still there for Rojas. Served back in. Possibly blocked on the way. No, it's a goal kick. Nelic was creasing in from the left flank, providing that second wave run as Rojas was totally unmarked to the back post. And it is a true fact. The referee saw it. And a good vantage. Enough so to deem that that had flown out without assistance from the defense. And after 2 minutes of stoppage time have expired, so too has this first half. a breathless one in the state of New Jersey. We find ourselves with just the littlest degree of separation shared. Red Bull were down early. They lead at the break over Toronto FC 2-1. We've got exciting things to come here at halftime, because coming up in our halftime coverage, more player profiles, plus the upcoming schedule and first half highlights. When we come back, that's all for you.
Boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud, don't worry about what next. Just know we got now, oh yes. Man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Dude, move away, I can't see.
Back here from the intermission, where it's 2-1 between Red Bull New York and Toronto FC2. We'll take a moment now to visit with Chicago's Christopher Cups about playing for the national team. But first, let's learn another one of our great stories of the player pathway. But this one includes a happy surprise when Portland's Eric Oda recently made his MLS debut for the Timbers. Take a peek.
On March 22nd, the Timbers called up Timbers 2 midfielder Eric Izoida ahead of their match against the LA Galaxy. Hours later, the 18-year-old academy product was named to the starting 11, making his MLS debut.
I didn't really know if I was starting or anything. I thought maybe I'd be on the bench, I'd play, but I was kind of just waiting for it. I was getting ready. I was like with my family, just chilling at home, really. I found out in the meeting right before the game, so like an hour 20 before the game. The anthem, it's always one of my favorite parts of every game. It's always, for me, that's like the crowd is engaged, everybody. It's just really cool experience. For me, just being in the stands, that's one of the parts of the game. And now being there, being on the field, doing it, it was just a really cool experience for me.
Confidence is everything in moments like these. And from the moment he walked into the locker room, Eric felt the trust of his teammates.
They were all just saying, we trust you, we believe in you, we know you're good enough for this. They were all just really positive, telling me that just to work hard out there, to not overdo it, just get into the game and just keep going. I'd say there was the first 10 minutes, I knew I had to go simple, I had to get it out. Then after 10, 15 minutes, I knew I was settling in. I made one good ball in behind, and then after that, I was good. And then second half, it took me 5, 10 minutes to get settled in again.
Arise. Loses out.
In my mind, after I scored, I thought I only took 1 touch or 2 touch. I thought I just ripped it right away. It felt really good coming off the foot. In warm-ups, I had 2 really good shots as well. They both came off the post, so I was hoping it wouldn't come off the post, but it was just a really good shot. I scored, and I knew we had a little chance to get back in it, you know, and it was just a really good moment for me.
These moments come once in a lifetime, and for Eric, having his family there to see it live was priceless.
They were just really proud. They were all like, just asking how the game was, asking all the details. They were talking to me, telling me all the stuff, how everybody was walking up to them, everybody was saying congratulations, and even though after the loss, everybody was really happy for me. They were asking how they get our seats and how they know where we were, and I think my brother told them where they were at, and they were just really, they didn't even know they were on camera, so it was like really surprising for them.
Eric's dream of making his debut has now become a reality.
I'm really grateful for all the coaches, for all they've done. They've all done a lot for me and everybody else who's on the second team and the first team. And it's really cool seeing the talents coming out of the academy right now too.
Now, he's focused on everything that comes after it.
For me, it's to obviously break into the first team fully, hopefully get regular minutes. Those are my goals. That's one of my goals. Also getting called into the national team, keep getting called in, and then just up from there.
You've earned this opportunity through the work that you've put in, not only this season, but your entire career so far. When this tournament is over, what do you hope you've learned about yourself as a player?
I think for me, as I kind of age up, continue to go from U17 to U18 to U19 with the national team, it gets closer to playing for the senior team, and that's my goal. For me, my country is the most special level to play at. It's like there's nothing that compares to representing your country. And for me, I mean, my family is like very American, like ton of European descent and stuff, but we've been here for a while, and so I feel very passionate about my country. So opportunities like this are really special. To play, I mean, potentially to play at the Azteca could be a super surreal experience representing the US. There's like great history there. And just to represent with people that I've known from youth level, people that are Americans but play in Spain, but play across the world is an absolute honor.
The RB in, first one to the ball, the tap, saved off the line by Cups.
But I think after this tournament, it's like, I use it as a measuring stick. I have to see where I stack up, what are the things in my game that are still obvious areas of improvement, and how can I close that gap in the next 6 months before the next competition. I think that's what I've tried to do with the national team. Is there like these benchmarks where I get to test myself, and this is another one where I get to test myself in a really cool environment with things on the line. It's a unique opportunity, and I'll get a new benchmark, and then I go and beat it in the next 6 months, and that'll be the goal.
The opportunity to build a professional soccer club in Long Island, to me is really unique. Number one, because I'm from New York, I'm from Queens. It's a community that I'm very familiar with, that I resonate with. Long Island has a tremendous source of pride that only Long Islanders know and feel. To do this in a place where there is such a rich soccer history, on the youth end, professionally, is also unique. We're not just launching a soccer club, we're launching a culture, we're launching a community space, we're launching a brand and a team that will make Long Island proud. Island FC will represent, not just what's happening on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we certainly give more than we take, and that's in all parts of the organization and the club.
I came to Long Island 40 years ago now and created the very first professional coaching organization. And out of that has grown this tremendous industry of viral coaching, super clubs and companies. And this is really an end result for that. it's an opportunity through the Island FC to act as an embracing organization that really brings the island together in a significant way and propels male and female soccer to the top. This is bringing professional soccer right to the heart of Long Island, and it makes that dream a reality. They will see young Long Island players coming through and playing pro here with the Island FC and representing Long Island on that international stage.
Back here from the break, a good look around at all the happenings in MLS Next Pro. But as we now get the chance to examine what is on the horizon at this all-important stage in the season, a check-in with what is to come in the division and what has gone by, setting that up in terms of the scores that have rolled in over the course of the weekend that was. Starting on Saturday, things kicked off with North Texas able to outlast Minnesota United in the shootout. FC Cincinnati 2, already eliminated from the playoffs with 3-1. A win over Carolina Core. That will lift the spirits. Atlanta United 2 able to bounce back with a big result against Orlando as the pipeline fills up with the fixtures that are set to be on the way. This is what is on the docket for the incoming match week, as the attention will be paid in mass to that match between St. Louis and North Texas, two teams that have been thereabouts at the top of the table the last couple of years in the Western Conference. Plenty of tasty fixtures to sink the teeth into on that slate of games. As for how things have been shaping up in regard to our game, the highlights from the first half, and there were several, and they would start out on the foot of Toronto SC2 and Elias Kodri as they would make their move off of some good repressing action into the box, and Kodri from the edge of the 18 pops one by the guard of Tobias Shevchik, but Red Bull New York would not waste time trying to get back into this one, as in the middle of the half they would get really good chance there that was spooned over goal by Joshua Munson. Dennis Jangar would not make the same mistake. It's a completely composed finish as he is able to comprise all by himself the leveling goal, and he would take that one step further with this one to make it 2-1 late on in the half, rounding the keeper and rolling it in, winning the ball by himself and doing the whole thing in turn. He's got a brace, and our game is 2-1 as we set up for an all-important second half of play here in New Jersey. We set to step aside when we come back. Second half action will be live in New Jersey.
Fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Yeah. Boys hear sentiment. Flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best. Can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions. Trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes. Man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Second half set to heat up here in the state of New Jersey. Red Bull New York, Toronto FC2 in a tight affair here today, as Red Bulls, with the lead in hand, will make a quick alteration out of halftime, and it will come notably at the back here, as we will see the exit of Jason Borey, who had been playing center back, to make way for Amar Sanchez, Panamanian defender, making what will be only his second substitute appearance, but 22nd appearance overall of the season. Toronto will also make a change. Manager Gianni Cimini, as Reed Fisher will replace on that defensive end of things what looks like Lazar Stefanovic. Fisher likely to set up as a center back on the right-hand side. Is a versatile defender. Stefanovic getting the run out today. His day comes to a close after 45 minutes. A couple moments of breakdown for Toronto at the back have cost them a fortune in terms of standing in this particular game. Giveaway there right before the end of the frame that allowed Dennis Jangar to compile his second goal of the day is what has them trailing and needing to find something deep within themselves if they are to get what they need on this short travel across the border. Once more, Peyton Keller here to bring you all the color that lies between the breadth and the width of this game as it moves forward now into its second act. Red Bull in Toronto, just on the outskirts of the playoff line in the Eastern Conference. Toronto with every intent to get into the postseason after just narrowly missing out a year ago. Red Bull New York, the ones that have the crown on their head after winning the title the year previous, but not a lot of the players that were in that squad in the team today trying to write their own lineage within this organization, this group. Red Bull will really, you would imagine, hit the gas pedal early in this half, trying to extend that lead if they can. Knowing exactly what kind of hornet's nest they will be kicking with Toronto. Feeling the desperation. 8 points beneath the playoff line entering today. Only a handful of games left. Munson. Toronto are pressing a little bit harder here to start this frame. Turned in over the top and overhit. Looked like they were searching for Rojas there. Was offside anyway. Away by Reed Fisher. Searching forward to Mar Dixon, who puts himself on the end of it. It's saved by Shevchik. A singular outstretched leg keeps it from being level. DeMar Dixon with a flash of pace found himself free. And where Shevchik was beaten in a similar situation in the first half, he is able to maintain his grip on this occasion. And it goes right into that really difficult spot to deal with for Red Bull. But they have gotten the ball clear, at least initially. Flipped along and play is stopped for a foul. Tobias Shefsik tempting the press forward. Weaving along to the far touchline. Munson just knocking it about, waiting for Toronto to open up the gap. On the overlap, and it's Batinger. He goes early with the ball, and it's caught clean by Knuckley. Flip forward, and nobody's there to retrieve it for Toronto. Batinger springing upon it, our Toronto FC2. Meddling into the danger area again. A crunching tackle applied, and that will be a foul called against Chukwu. Munson and Shefsik. Toronto turning up the temperature. In chorus, and a sculpted ball right into the heart of the box. Headed away. Amar Sanchez will walk it out over the end line for what will be a corner kick. Toronto need it desperately. They have taken 82 corners, which entering today is the least in the league. But they don't need any practice to get a good look there, and ruining that miss will be Reed Fisher. He rose up, put his forehead on it. Unfortunately for him, it landed off the top side of his head and went instantly out for a goal kick. Shefsik seen much more of the ball at his feet in this half. Batinger. 5 minutes gone by in this second half of play. And Toronto speeding through the gears. Into the middle, the goal scorer Elias Cowdrey coasting over goal with little regard. Did not hesitate a hair before having a lash at one. Shefsik was falling back. Don't think he expected a shot to come there. Even with a pantomime dive. Not sure if that shot was on target. He would have had anything to say about it. A bad touch. Twisting free and turning it up to 3-1. It's a gift of a goal for Andy Rojas. And it turns Red Bull red. There was no alarm bell ringing. The ball developing a mind of its own at the foot of the goalkeeper, Knuckley. Andy Rojas more than content to coax it in. A pair of seriously self-inflicted wounds by Toronto FC2 have defined the difference on the day, and Red Bull rollicking in an extended lead. Andy Rojas for him. What will now make his 5th goal on the year. Second such player to hit that tally in this game, with Jangar having done it in the first half, starting today on 3 goals. And Red Bull reinforce the advantage. Toronto with double the doing. Offline, finding the clearance there was Munson, away by Sanchez. Sprinting at it was Nate Worth. Every single pressing action from here on out for Red Bull will be even more emboldened by the progress and results that it's already provided. They know that Toronto have a mistake in them now, and that will only make them see even more red. Nelic throws himself in. The ball sticks up. Reed Fisher winning the war of wills. Knuckley, his first touch this era that gave away the goal. It's a good ball. But nowhere to go for Kodry. Nate Worth spreading wide. Nelic at the touchline. Tantalizing delivery that's just about stabbed away by Fisher. Cadigan now into the middle for Munson and Sanchez. Red Bull passes that rhyme. Benedetti. Nate Worth spinning away. Benedetti. Nelic. A peek in the rearview mirror for Philo. Toronto can't even get close to the ball. A string of what is going on, at least 20 successive passes for Red Bull New York 2. Baitinger in. It's blocked. Throw in coming for the home side. If you're just now rejoining us, the distance has expanded for Toronto as they trail by a pair now. An error at the back, precipitating a tap-in from Andy Rojas. And Red Bull still have an appetite. Rojas rolling wide. Baitinger in no particular hurry and was off pace as Benedetti was trying to play him in. He had made an infield slanting run when the ball was going toward the touchline shaded shoulder. It looks like the referee is having something of an exchange with what looks like Richard Chukwu over there. This portion of the match is brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets. Lurching in to regain custody, Red Bull New York off the restart. Very silent standout. Devin Cadigan has been marshaling the game in the middle, making sure all the trains are running on time as he attaches himself to a loose ball there again. Somehow digs it out. He has been the steady metronomic force in the mid-park all year long for Dominic Willert, what has been a breakout campaign for him as the Sin Eater in the central portion of the field for Red Bull. So much stress is put on those pivot players in a system like this, and for a young player in his age 17 season, Cadigan has been more than up for the task. This is Benedetti. Numbers arriving. Jangar on a hat trick, providing the upstream option at the end line. Got the cross in ahead of the tackle. Would not outwit Zachariah Knuckley at the near post. Toronto are hanging on by a thread. A third conceded could be lethal. Nate Worth, uncontested as he approaches the 18-yard box. Red Bull encroaching where Toronto will not welcome them. Once more, applying pressure toward goal. Nelic trying to make up his mind. Does look like DeMar Dixon, who started this game, has come off, replaced by the player that was initially in the written 11. Cheyenne Pinnock has been injected in to add some flair and pace on the right wing. Toronto have hardly even got a whiff of possession in this first quarter hour of the first half, or second half, I should say. Springing wide, Nelic the recipients. Nate Worth ahead of him. Cadigan to Worth. The geometry is flawless. Ball in. Again, it's Red Bull unable to conjure the final product after what was a jaw-dropping sequence of passes and moves. Toronto taking it up with them on the business end now. Neymar Sanchez with the cover. Corner kick. Dominic Lort prepping the checklist for a couple of substitutes to be made. At a glance, it looks like the striker Christian Gallagher, as well as Andy Rojas. Rather, actually, should say, Benny Rodriguez, excuse me. But in the here and now, it's a corner kick for Toronto. At the back post and beaten away. The counter is coming to life. With the pace, it's Nelic. With the runner on the right, it's Jangar. Rather, this Rojas. Nelic on the right side. Across the face of Jangar to Nelic. Nelic! Knocked in. Nothing shy of a five-star counterattack. Dennis Nelic completes the trifecta of front three contribution. Jangar with 2, Rojas with 1, now Nelic with 1, and Red Bull well nigh out of sight. A full field sprint from Dennis Nelic. And if that is his final action before these last changes to be made, or most recent changes to be made for Red Bull, it will be one of serious import. He may have singed his own studs with the pace that he was playing at there, Dennis Nelic. You cannot teach speed to that degree. And as the changes are made, Benny Rodriguez and Christian Gallagher, only a refreshing of the attack for Red Bull, who won on this patch of grass already this year, 5-0 over Toronto. And it might be a double dosing at the current trajectory. Benny Rodriguez did score a pair of goals in that game against Toronto on that day. Christian Gallagher coming in with 5 goals in his own right on the year, having scored in the last match against Atlanta United too. Pinnock has scored it back by Fialo. But out. It was 1-0. That was leaning in the Toronto direction. It is no longer 1-0. 4 unanswered goals from Red Bull New York. Nate Worth. Benny Rodriguez, who has the capacity to dance around in all the forward areas, but also play the role in midfield, if that's what's required. Very flexible set of player profiles in the attack, all up and down for Dominic Willert. On this occasion, though, they will watch the ball go by them. Tracking back in defense was Jangar, who covered all the grounds. This portion of the match is brought to you by Toyota. Toronto, a testing of the will. Do they have what it takes to restore some tension in this game? And it is a task at this stage. Down 3 goals, but crazier things have happened. Christian Gallagher needling in, bearing down on the 18. Benedetti spots the spare man. Baitinger bashed away, only as far as Cadigan, who returns it for Baitinger. This cross is blocked. It's a corner. Nate Worth taking his precious time. No reason for urgency for Red Bull. Aiming for Munson, got over his head. And Toronto get rid. Fletcher Bank. Flowing ahead for Pinnock. Scrambling away from the tackle of Fialo before running out of room. Benny Rodriguez hard to detect as to whether or not he's playing left wing, left back, or somewhere on the left side of midfield. Fialo. Munson. What a response from Red Bull, who got that early wake-up call inside the first 5 minutes. Found themselves trailing, and we're just not content with that reality, it seems. Bit of a risky ball into the middle, and Toronto are in a position to take chances. Got to do something to light that spark. Benedetti working himself free, and in fine fashion to lay one in for Benny Rodriguez. Rodriguez squaring! 5-1. Christian Gallagher. And it's a 5-finger knockout for Red Bull New York. They have taken Toronto to the sword, and they have done it without any regret. Benny Rodriguez with the goalkeeper hanging in the balance, searching for a spare set of boots, and they're provided by Christian Gallagher to steer it home. Gallagher 2 on the bounce for him. Goals in back-to-back games, and it is shaping up quite well for Red Bull. Red Bull on full parade. It's been much better from them. Those consecutive results came in a much-needed time. Proceeding this game. But if this is what they're going to look like down the stretch, nobody will want to see them come playoff time. Just waves of attacking quality that they can roll into a game. So many players that are ready to make the difference. Scooped in for Benny Rodriguez, who takes it off the chest. Looking just for a side of goal to provide itself. Baitinger. Flag will remain down. Benedetti. Beyond the bounds of Cadigan. Slipping through one tackle. And the ball is gone. Christian Gallagher off the bench to score one already. Rodriguez, the one who was able to set him up. This time the pair are not on the same page. John Marie Nolan has come off in the settling dust of the goal that made it 5-1, as well as Fletcher Bank. Daniel Stampatore entering, as well as Tristan Blythe. Blythe, who found himself as the fire starter, no pun intended, against Chicago a couple games back, scoring a pair of great goals to help lift Toronto into a kind of emotional state where they felt like they might be able to make a late push for the playoff line. First of those back-to-back games in which points were gained by Toronto. But nothing is coming off right now for the road side. This portion of the match is brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets. "20 minutes left to it. Red Bull had lost the last two games at home, had been outscored by a margin of 7-1 in those two fixtures. Well, they've just about reversed that in the 70 minutes they've played so far today. Tristan Blythe unable to take it into his name. Prodded out for a throw. Conversation with Dominic Ward, preparation for this game. It was the same as always. Always a bright disposition on the manager and an intent to figure out how they can make it about them. They have fashioned themselves as the protagonist and aren't quite done writing that story. Philo flushing wide for Benny Rodriguez. No reason not to just knock it between a pair of friends in close confines, Benedetti and Cadigan. Now they include Sanchez in on the game. Cadigan picking out Nate Worth, who opens up and scrambles away from one. Advantage being presented, but it never actually manifests. Play will be rewound, and a yellow card will be assigned to a Toronto defender for the drag back.
The referee has issued a yellow card to number 89, Gabriel McKenna, in the 73rd minute.
Nate Worth could go for goal from here. Said he'll play a backward pass. About as far from that ambition as one could get. Philo. Nate Worth hasn't popped up on the score sheet aside from that delightful assist on that goal from Jangar. He has been ever present, though, in the mid-park. Toronto on the advance to the wide side. Wriggling into the 18. Comes in crookedly and ready to strike up on the break again on Red Bull. They have the numbers. It's a 4v2. The keeper's off his line. Benny Rodriguez makes a hash of that. Looks like Sekou Kone is being readied by Red Bull New York. Devin Cadigan, his day has come to a close.
And your attention, please. Constitution for Red Bull New York 2. Entering the match in the 76th minute, number 60, Sekou Kone. Sekou replaces number 61, Devin Cadigan.
Toronto recirculating. Into the area. And it's just not going their way. Slanted well over goal off of the foot of Tristan Blythe. Nate Worth, bit of a hospital ball. Toronto can't turn it into anything worth writing about. Threading through, stepping in, file out. Munson. Back to the goalkeeper. Knuckley. Spinning his wheels and getting through a crowd there to keep hold of it. It was Pinnock. But now it's gone. Trickling back to Fisher, who slots it back to Knuckley, who's not taking any chances. The game was in the balance. A pair of mistakes from Toronto at the back is what opened it up. Giveaways that turned into goals for Red Bull on the second and third. Red Bull just showing their bright quality on the fourth and the fifth, and that is where we're at. Suppose the only other achievement for Red Bull that could be obtained in the game, with where it is currently sitting, is to maybe get Dennis Jankar's hat trick. He's moved from striker to right wing with Christian Gallagher's insertion.
The referee has issued a yellow card to Red Bull New York 2, number 22, Dennis Jankar, in the 78th minute.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Hospital for Special Surgery, and it's a yellow card to Dennis Jankar. Thundered away out of the back by Knuckley. It's come spinning down to be sent the other direction. Kone putting a leash to custody of the ball, and there's the players down. Didn't get a great look at who the Toronto man was. Physios are coming out with just a little bit more than 10 minutes left in it. Just hope this isn't an injury of significance. Back to his feet, the man in white. In the meantime, this will be the opportunity for Benedetti to make his exit. Paul Sokolov replacing him.
For Red Bull New York 2 in the 80th minute. Entering the match, number 62,
Sokolov in his own right will add 3 goals on the campaign to what is already on the field. Seems to be a common refrain in and throughout this Red Bull roster. Everybody has stepped up to lend a helping hand on the output front of things at some point throughout the course of the year. Referee will restart with a drop ball. Taking an awful long time here. I think to maybe make sure that the Toronto player was able to be adequately substituted, and that has taken place. Abundant Salalu, the one slotted in for the mop-up duty. What was a hotly contested game in the first half has gone pear-shaped. Red Bull right on their way to what would be their 12th victory of the year. Nate Worth sent sailing beyond the reach of Batinger. It was Stojanovic that had to come off. Red Bull with their hackles raised again. Gallagher. Benny Rodriguez breaking free off the back heel now to Gallagher. Coming wide to gain it. And he just run right into a Reed Fisher-shaped obstacle and drag back the outgoing Toronto player. Knuckley. All the way back into Knuckley. New Brito, the one who set him up. Toronto had 4 shots on target in the first 20 minutes, only 1 since. Conversely, 8 shots on target for Red Bull on 14 efforts. An XG that is on the right side of 3, and it might grow. Nate Worth, a twist and a take, the rebound. Jangar was sitting on his hat trick. All he had to do was score. That would have been his easiest finish of the game. But he's flashed it over goal. So well crafted by Nate Worth, and as Jangar had seen his name in the stars already, comes crashing back down to earth. Nate Worth, Sekou Kone Repositioning to provide a right-sided outlet, but the ball never gets there. Jankar. Kone. Munson. Shaped backward by Paul Sokolov. Red Bull have attempted now 640 passes as Toronto trying to make some headway. A couple of big bumps, but no foul. There is a Red Bull player down. Worth rolling wide for Benny Rodriguez. Spinning infield, Sokolov, now Kone. Slightly shallow as he tried to get it wide. Amar Sanchez is back to his feet. He was the injured party earlier. Rodriguez has uprooted it. Driving ahead with ambition, Fialo. Bouncing off one tackle, now Sokolov. There is no cause for urgency for Red Bull. Nate Worth. Munson. That is a confirmed tackle to take it off the toes of Benny Rodriguez. Place of sides once more as Dennis Jankar bids the game adieu. He scored the first two. His teammates did the rest, and he will survey the landscape of an opponent that he has done serious damage to. So no hat trick today, but the impact was felt for Dennis Jankar. Now up to 12 goal contributions on the year, 5 goals, 7 assists. Benny Rodriguez. Munson. Heavy first touch. Baitinger. Sean Baitinger. Rushed infield for Sokolov. Shifting wide, Fialo. That's a clever ball. It was just glued on the first touch to Christian Gallagher, who was moving at breakneck speed, left the ball behind him. Red Bull still might cash in. Kone. A rounding run from Baitinger. At this rate, Red Bull might hit 700 passes for the game. Shuffled down the line for Benny Rodriguez, who churns infield, charging a back post ball. Reed Fisher. And thumped out for a throw belonging to Toronto. It's nearly given away again. Scuttling the attack was Knuckley before any damage could be done. Red Bull intercept once more. Sokolov scurrying forward with gusto. Whole host of Red Bulls in the raiding party. The shot sprayed in and straight at the goalkeeper. Just waiting on that board to go up. Everything from this point on semantic. Red Bull took one on the chin early. They have responded with full force. Sokolov. A stinging tackle put in. Rolled wide, Benny Rodriguez looking for his just desserts. Nate Worth. Philo finding a soft spot. Tried to play that seeking pass in to Rodriguez. Sokolov onto the ricochet. And an applauded effort, but in the end, a goal kick.
Pay your attention, please. Before the official on the side is indicated, there will be a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time in the second.
Into 4 minutes now, stoppage time. Looked like a Toronto player may have gotten their foot stepped on. They go New Brito. No matter now. Throwing to come for Red Bull New York. They're still pushing numbers forward. Playing the game as if it were 0-0. Sekou Kone. Philo. Showed just too much of the ball to the Toronto marker. Does well to cut off the angle and get it out for a throw. Hoisted back into the middle. Foul is the call. Couple lines broken on a fine dispatch from Toronto FC defender. But as has been the story of the night, little distance covered before the possession trades hands back to the home side. Benny Rodriguez unable to summon it down. Throwing to come for Toronto. Hurdled back into the middle. Kone. Nate Worth. Shasik. Play paused. And then we'll resume from the middle of the field. A yellow card is shown. I believe to Richard Chukwu, yes. A second half that's belonged in full to the home team, Red Bull New York. 68% of the possession over these 45 minutes with a margin that sits at 3-0 For the full balance of the game, now 5-1. Closing down on those 94 minutes. A rousing Red Bull result in the making. And it comes to the New Yorkers in full. All 3 points on the back of 5 goals. A stout response after falling behind in the first 10 minutes of action. And the Red Bulls are reeling in the playoff pack. The man of the match is Dennis Jangar, who was able in full function to create the 2 most important moments of the game for Red Bull. The first goal to level it, just such a sweetly caught strike. The second one will be one that he will replay time and time again, teach tape of what a closing down should look like and a finish to match. Technique, he's oozing it. And Toronto feeling the sting. A brace for Dennis Jangar. And it's 5 goals that come flying in for Red Bull New York. They take it to Toronto, the reigning champs, starting to really feel like themselves again. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, folks, I've been Peyton Gallagher. Once again, our final score here, 5-1. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. But for now, from New Jersey, we say happy trails and good night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.